Hi, I want to talk today a little bit today about anchoring. I mean, it's a rainy day in Georgia. There's nothing else to do, and I saw an email today on one of the lists I follow that had my name in it that where the guy was kind of skeptical about the anchoring and stuff that we teach. Now, for those of you who aren't quite certain, because I know this video is going to go up on YouTube and people are going to wonder, anchoring is where you take an emotion and you attach it to a thing. Okay, like it's like when people are advertising a sports car and they put a pretty girl in the sports car. The pretty girl has nothing to do with how well the sports car runs, but pretty girl feelings attached to sports car. Now guys think, get sports car, get pretty girl. All right, we're guys, we're stupid that way. All right, in reality, the sports car has nothing to do with whether you get the girl or not. All right, so there were two videos that we had up on the internet, and the guy was kind of skeptical. And one was showing our friend Kieran from Ireland how he took a guy in a bar and in a very short period of time had anchored him to all of the guy's values in an employee to 3 chocolate wafers. I mean, this happened in the Hammersmith, the hotel in Hammersmith, London. And in a very short period of time, just by using these chocolates and the feelings that he attached to them, he had the guy offering a $120,000 a year job, firing his son, and giving him a free truck. All right? Well, the truck, I think, was figured into the $120,000 worth of package. And then the other thing we do is the product that we sell called Interview Magic. And that is how to use these skills to get a job interview. And the guy that we was a client of ours, we taught how to do this, and he took the skills and applied it to getting a job. And he would get a job and 6 months later just quit because he was so certain that he could get a job the next day. It was just no problem. It was no problem at all. So, you know, he felt really good about the idea that you know, he had ultimate freedom. He could quit and take 6 months off, and then later on go back and get a job whenever he wanted to, because it was just easy. Now, a lot of people teach anchoring and they make a huge mistake. All right, and I'm going to show you what that mistake is, because it's a classic error, and I'll explain why it's an error. Okay, so a lot of people, teach anchoring and hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming and you know, over amplified positive mental attitude things, and the reason is quite simple. If you imagine that this is where you are, kind of normally, your normal everyday state. Okay, let me zoom in on this a bit so you can see a little better. All right, so this is your normal everyday state. Now what we want to do is intentionally cause a spike in that state. All right, we want to elicit a feeling. We want to cause a spike. We want to cause something to happen to have you have an emotional response, okay? Now this is good, and normally the normal flow would be this spike would go up and then eventually go down. All right? Now that's kind of the flow of an emotion, if you kind of get the idea. Now what would happen is, when normal people, when I first learned this skill, people would try to force you to have an over-amplified emotion, okay? They would say, you know, think of a time when you felt really excited. All right. By the way, think of a time is probably the worst elicitation ever discovered, and we teach why that is in our seminars, which we'll be having in London here in April. Okay. So basically, you'd have a feeling, and they'd push that feeling and push that feeling right until it got up here to the peak, and then they would apply the anchor right there. Okay. Now, the problem with that is that it's number one, awkward. Number two, because you know, because what they would do is like, oh, you have this feeling, you know, and what if you double it and then double it again, and then you really felt that way. All right. So you get with this really super amplified emotion. All right, which is, by the way, noticeable, which is, you know, not a bad thing to do. You know, I guess when you're doing therapy and stuff like that, people expect weird things, so it's okay. All right, so you have that. Now, number one, let's say you were successfully anchoring that, and you fired that anchor, and somebody went, woo! Okay? That's a little bit weird, all right? I mean, for me, that's not something, super excitement is okay, all right? I love being excited. I do things exciting all the time, all right? But if I suddenly have the feeling of excitement for no reason whatsoever, all right, I'm going to get a little freaked out. And it's not going to be invisible, okay? Because what we're talking about here is invisible influence, all right? We're talking about being able to influence people without them actually noticing that you're doing something, all right? Now, the reason that this doesn't work is number one, like I said, awkward. Number two, it is outside the range of their normal emotion. Normal people's emotion runs somewhere around here and there. And it will fluctuate somewhere in there throughout their lives. All right, if you force it out here and make it overly amplified, it is not a pleasant experience. Okay, it can freak people out, and actually you end up doing more damage to yourself than actually helping. Okay, so that's two reasons. Okay, it's overly amplified, so it's outside of their normal range. It's no longer invisible, and it's awkward to sit there and tell people to double it and double it again. All right. So what we have here is this is the main reason why normal anchoring the way it's taught doesn't work, and this is why we have so much influence. The third reason is where we decide to anchor, okay? Up here sounds like a good idea, but it's only because someone's so insecure with what they're doing that they want to see somebody explode before they know they can sit the anchor. And then when they fire the anchor, they need somebody to explode to let them know that it actually worked. All right? That's called being insecure. I'm very secure that my anchors work. I don't have to worry about it. The last part is where we anchor is down here. Way down here. Way down here. Why, Tom? Why anchor down here? Why down here? Number one, it's inside of the normal range of emotion. So when I fire that anchor, they're going to feel good, but they're not going to know why. All right, so I can have influence. All right, I can get them to do things and make them feel good about it, and that's completely different than trying to make somebody explode. All right, the second reason is that this is where there is acceleration. All right, this is where there is the most speed of movement of the state, and we'll teach you how to do this. We'll teach you how to generate this movement. All right, so that here's where you get really good speed, then it kind of slows off. And what happens is, because it doesn't keep the acceleration up, people want you to double it, and then double it again, and then really turn it up, okay? Which is ridiculous and comical in the real world, okay? It's not something you want to do. So, I mean, if you understand this, all right, and kind of get an idea of where the state accelerates, that's where you want to set your anchor. You do not want to set it way up here, okay? It's freaky, and it's obvious, and it's weird, okay? Now, the reason what we do and how we teach it in the seminar and why it works so well is really quite simple, because we don't teach this as an isolated skill. All right, we teach this skill along with vocal influence, how to elicit this acceleration, all right, and rapport, which teaches you, which people will trust you, and they feel like you're the kind of person that they're going to allow to lead them into these states without any resistance. This is how it works so well for the guy in the hotel that anchored the guy to 3 chocolates, and when he put the things in his chocolates, or the chocolates in his pocket, and tried to walk away, the guy stopped him and pulled him back and said, wait, we haven't talked money yet, let me make you an offer. All right, so if you'll notice, these are the reasons, if you've understood this at all, artificially amplified, wrong, okay? Outside of the realm of emotion, wrong. Doubling again, wrong. The right thing to do, generate acceleration, anchor during the acceleration, keep it inside of the normal range of emotion, and you will be able to have the maximum amount of influence with the least amount of effort. Okay, because everyone knows who's been to any of our seminars, I have a rule. It's the L rule. The L rule is that I'm going to do things with as little part of work as possible. It's the lazy rule. I'm not going to make you work hard. I don't think you need to, okay? What you need to do is be able to use these things effortlessly so that in the real world, it's a seamless combined skill of anchoring, rapport, There's calibration as well that we teach, and vocal influence. All right, it's a package of skills. All right, when you live life with a package of skills and you understand how they're weaved together, like we teach at the seminars that we're doing. Like I said, we're doing one in London in April. You need to check it out if you're in Europe at all. And it becomes, it doesn't become skills like this, okay? Skill 1, 2, 3, and 4. They become interwoven. All right, so every skill touches every other skill, and there's no separation of skill. All right, so anyway, that's my answer for today. If you guys are more curious, advanced anchoring and other sneaky stuff videos are the ones that you need to have in order to learn this concept and understand how to generate these things. We have 3 seminars in Europe coming at the end of April. So anyway, thanks a lot for your time, and if you've enjoyed this, feel free to join our list if you're not on it already, and comment and let me know what you think.